robberies and things of that sort that take place.
That's true. I constantly am, and let me say once again, folks, we're not bashing people. We're trying to help people. I talked to a young man last night in church, and who is trying to get off of alcohol addiction, and he said, just like my body is trying to tell me all the time, go get it, and it's like, if it's right here, I can get it. And we talk to people who say, I have to steal to support my habit, and so who am I going to steal from? Mm-hmm. So naturally our crime rate's going to go up to serve that addictive nature of people.
And you want to make clear, there are many good people on the other side that think
yes.
You know, Boone County should go wet, and they're entitled, you know, to their beliefs, but we need to be careful not to take what small tax revenue or benefit we would have at the expense of a large number of people that it will cause, you know, really a lot of damage to.
I agree completely. We talked to a young man, and I was talking to him about the vote, and he said, well, he said, all the way around, he said, I'm not against it. He said, but the only thing that I am against is the availability for young people to get the alcohol. And we began to talk to him about, well, do you know about the revenue thing? And he said, no, I didn't know about that. Mm-hmm. And so, again, that's why we're having this program, not to condemn anybody, but we just wanted to present the facts and say, here. And once he saw that, he said, wow, this is not what I understood all this to be. He said, certainly now I can see all the advantages of not having alcohol here. Right. And that's what we're doing, folks. Mm-hmm. We're not condemning anybody. We're just trying to say, here are the facts. You make your best judgment and vote your conscience. And I'm going to get in trouble for this, Ralph. Okay. But the only two people that's going to know how you vote in that poll when you go down there and make those selections are you and God. Mm-hmm. So, God, yes.
Another bit of information which is interesting is they claim, well, since we're a dry county and everyone has to go to the state line or Hilltop Liquor, or, you know, Carroll County to get their alcohol, mm-hmm. Well, they're going to open it and drink it on the way back. So a dry county has more DWIs, more traffic fatalities that are associated with alcohol. And in some cases that is true, but in Boone County, let's see, where the eraser
is right under your seat.
Under the seat, okay. In Boone County over the last 10 years, Boone County has experienced a 65% reduction in traffic-related, drug-related traffic fatalities. Okay, statewide,
That's great.
Though, over the last 10 years, the state has had a 44% increase. Okay, so that, you know, that's pretty significant. Then if you look at one of our neighboring counties, which is wet, they've been wet for 40 plus years or so. Over the same time period, they've had a 600% increase in alcohol, drug-related traffic fatalities. So
that's significant. Can y'all see that out there, folks? Mm-hmm. I hope everybody that's out in our audience can see these figures because they're very significant.
That's Boone County. This is statewide. And this is not meant to bash that county. They're good people that live there. This is Carroll County. Now, you know, just to be fair, you know, if you look at Baxter County, Baxter County has experienced a decrease, a small decrease over the same length of time. It's been about a 12% decrease. Still, if you look at the statistics as a whole, that argument that a dry county is just going to increase DWIs and traffic-related fatalities, when you look at the whole picture, that's not true. You can take specific instances and probably make a case on that, but we're looking at statewide statistics.
This is significant. A 65% reduction in drug, alcohol-related fatalities and accidents. Folks, that's what can you say?
Right.
If I were a parent raising children today, I would think, hey man, I'm worried about my kids. You know, we're losing kids every year to alcohol-related. Almost every time we pick up the paper, it's some type of alcohol-related incident, maybe a car wreck or something. And how in the world, Ralph, I couldn't live with myself knowing that my child had been killed in an alcohol-related incident that perhaps some way maybe I could have. I would always say, well, what if I'd done this or what if I'd done that? I'd rather keep it dry and know that, yes, they're still, if they want it, they're going to go get it. But if we make it just a little bit more difficult, maybe they'll stop and think for that
Right.
part of a second that it takes to not go and be related or involved in these type of statistics. Listen, and again, we're not bashing counties, but look, folks, 600% increase. What does that tell you? That's like a 7-to-1 or so. Just saying, hey, if my child is out on the road, there's a 7-to-1 chance that he's going to be in an alcohol-related accident in a adjoining county. Praise the Lord. So,
right. And want people to understand too, this is actually average trends over this period of time. You take all the information, you put it in, for instance, on a graph, and you can do a linear trend that shows the direction that things are headed, and that's what these actual numbers come from. Now, if you just compare one year to the next, you know, that wouldn't necessarily occur, but this is over a 10-year time frame,
okay,
and the direction that things are heading when you actually average out the numbers.
well, with these numbers being like this, it makes me think that on the law enforcement side, that crime has to be much higher statistically in wet counties than dry counties.
Right. Another statistic which is good to bring up here is if you look in prisons, people that are imprisoned, 50% nationwide of every person that's in prison, their crime was directly tied to alcohol or drugs.
Wow.
They were under the influence of one or both of those when they committed their crime. So obviously alcohol availability and consumption is a major contributing factor to crime.
Well, and I know people are saying, well, you know, but Harrison's not dry, we're wet. And we're not arguing that point at all, folks. My preference would be that in a dry county that nothing could be served. That would be my preference. Now that, folks, I'm not trying to start a big argument. You believe the way you want to. But what we are saying is this, that the availability of alcohol makes it so much easier to commit these crimes.
Right.
That's what we're trying to show you, praise God. And so we need to understand that. My sweet wife over there had wrote something for me a while ago, and I couldn't read what it was. She'll bring that to me. And so.
Well, it was just about teenagers.
Well, the more
You can walk to a liquor store and stand outside and wait and convince someone to buy it for them.
Well, that's true, and that's a crime.
right,
Yeah.
the more available alcohol is, the more it will be consumed, especially by young people, because they see it as kind of a sign of rebellion, or you know, this is something that's taboo that I really shouldn't do, but you know, I think I'll do it anyway. So
Forbidden fruit.
Right, right. But you know, but even with adults, when you get up in adult age, I had a gentleman came by to visit with me. He said he specifically moved to Boone County because it's dry. He's an alcoholic. He says, I can still get alcohol here if I want it, but at least I can't walk down the street and get it.
Mm-hmm.
He said if it was available down the street, I would be in trouble. So some people say they can handle alcohol, they have no problem with it. But if you look at some statistics too, it's pretty interesting. 1 in 10 people, 1 out of 10 people that take their first drink will be an alcoholic. That's Caucasian people. In that 1 in 10, if you have a parent or a grandparent or aunt or uncle that's an alcoholic, has a drinking problem, it goes to 4 in 10, 40%. If you go into, and this isn't racist at all, but if you go into Native American Indians, if they take a drink, 1 drink, 8 in 10 will become an alcoholic. So it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. I mean, why would you want to do it?
With an automatic pistol.
Right.
You're talking about with the teenagers too. One of the things that we find in alcohol related is that the incidents of childbirth tend to increase and abortions are increased because of the lower inhibitions that come, you mentioned that before, lower inhibitions that alcohol causes, and let's face it, folks, let's be honest, we're adults out there. People use alcohol to get their way and to seduce and to do things, and then women suffer greater than men because of just that moment, and maybe that they were under the influence of alcohol and didn't resist as much as maybe they wanted to, and then result then is an unwanted childbirth, and then the result of that is abortion. We say, well, you're certainly blowing things up. Well, no, I'm really not, because that statistics show that alcohol is used as like a date drug, and that's what's happening, folks. And that, again, Ralph, it's not to say that, listen, there's some good people out there, some wonderful people on both sides. And we're not naming people and saying, well, you're a criminal, you're going to hell, you're going to do all this. No, we just want you to see what these facts are showing. Now, if you're willing to put an automatic to your head and play Russian roulette, it's going to go off. It's going to go off.
Right. You know, I'm in real estate, and I'm not pushing the, you know, my personal place where I do business, so I'm not going to mention where it is, but I have a very large number of people that move to Boone County specifically because it's wet. I mean, there's other attractive, I mean, because it's dry, I'm sorry. There's other attractive things too. I mean, they like the 4 seasons, the friendliness of the people. There's several things that they like about Boone County, but the determining factor for them, the major one, is because it is dry. And I get to know people pretty well when I'm working with them, showing them property. And a lot of the people that move in actually do drink. But they say they're moving from a wet county to Boone County because it's dry, even though there's some clubs, because they don't want to live in the middle of it. And you know, every corner you turn to, every drugstore you go into, Walmarts, every mom and pop shops you go into, there's alcohol everywhere you go. They don't want to live in that.
And I understand, and that I've talked to people who, just as you say, talk about, I'm trying to get away from the availability. I just don't like it I drank. Well, if that's your prerogative, that's your and what a wonderful country we live in. You have the freedom to do what you want to do. But what gets me, and this is a question I have, is why do people move to Boone County to get away from that, from the wet, and they move to the dry because it's so much, it's a wonderful thing to be away from all that. And then after they live here a while, they try to change it back to what they moved away to get away from.
That does happen occasionally. There was a gentleman a couple of weeks ago that was visiting with his neighbor, and he was complaining, I have to drive so far to get my beer to drink. And his neighbor said, now, why did you move here? He said, because it's a dry county. And he says, so why are you wanting the alcohol to be more available? You tried to move away from that. And he goes,